important ingredient for the pizza, which is basically the Fiordilatte cheese. The type of cheese that we usually use, or it's Fiordilatte or it's the buffalo mozzarella. In this case, I always prefer the Fiordilatte because Fiordilatte, it's very similar to the consistency of the dough. So it tends to be quite, you see, quite elastic. But very important, what makes a good Fiordilatte, it's that when we cut it, it should be slightly humid, not too humid, because basically what makes a good consistency of a cheese, it should be that when we put it on top of the pizza, it will not tend to dissolve in terms like all the liquid to come out. So very important is always to choose a good quality cheese. And you see, Fiordilatte is slightly drier compared to the buffalo mozzarella. So that's why we always prefer on the pizza the use of the buffalo, the Fiordilatte cheese. I think it's the kind of cheese that it suits better to the actual quality of the product. So once we've cut you see, our piece of cheese, what we're going to do, it's basically, I'm going to cut sticks. So I'm going to cut first slices, you see, not too big, because in the end we don't want very big slices, but very important, they should be like the size of a finger. So I'm just going to cut my slices of cheese, and as we started, we will cut them in sticks, because definitely what makes it's also the look of the pizza. We always eat with the eye, so very, very important when we choose the cheese that we're going to put on top of the pizza. We always prefer it to cut it in sticks. And you see, the way to cut it is always like a guillotine. Very important, this movement, because it will actually keep us a bit like the sequence of the cut, and it will allow us always to have, you see, a nice result. So definitely what we would look for, it's the wideness of a finger, but definitely we're talking about millimeter. And once we've done this, we can actually start to put it into the bowl. Very important, the reason why we cut it in this way, it's also because when we actually display the cheese on top of the pizza, it will actually be much more easier to put it on top of it. So that's why we do it like this. And of course, it's always preferable to cut it in sticks than in cubes, because when we cut the cubes, sometimes they tend to clot. So very important is actually the cut of the cheese. And you see, the Fiordilatte tends to be slightly more dry, which is actually a very positive thing, especially when we're putting on top of the pizza, because how many times it happens that we get a very, very soggy pizza. So that's why it's always preferable the choice of a cheese that is definitely not too humid inside. And Fiordilatte, it actually probably is the best choice for our pizza. So you see, we start to put into our container, almost there. So very important, always the cut should be done with the knife. Definitely always preferable to make it freshly made. So, but important always to keep it at room temperature, because definitely a cold product won't be very good when we put it on inside the oven. So you see, this is how we're going to cut the sticks, and this will help us actually to display it on top of the pizza. So very simple ingredients, but definitely what makes the pizza so beautiful is probably this stuff. So very important, the choice of what we put